Did you know that an orphaned girl reshaped the very map of Europe? Yes, this is the forgotten story of Sophia Augusta, better known as Catherine the Great. But wait, you probably think you know her story. She married into the Russian monarchy and became their most influential female leader. Except, this story isn't just about her reign or palace intrigues. It's about the astonishing political machinery she mastered and the astonishing gamble that changed nations. Stay tuned because I promise you've never heard it told quite like this. Our story begins in 1729 in a relatively obscure German principality called Stettin, now part of modern Poland. Born Princess Sophia Augusta Frederica, she was by no means destined for greatness. The daughter of minor German nobility, Sophia was rejected early by her parents due to her mother's disdain for her. Frail and bookish, she was described as unspectacular by many who met her in her early years. For all intents and purposes, she was the ultimate underestimated underdog. At 15, however, her entire destiny turned on a letter from Empress Elizabeth of Russia. The then heir to the Russian throne, Peter, needed a bride. And Russian royal courts had a peculiar fascination with German princesses, valuing them as educated yet politically unthreatening consorts. Sophia was chosen almost as an afterthought. Her ambitious mother could hardly contain her own ambitions, as Sophia was shipped off to a kingdom that felt as foreign as outer space. But here's where our story really takes a dramatic turn. The moment Sophia set foot in the icy expanse of Russia, she made a monumental decision. This would not be her husband's kingdom. No, she would make it her own. And trust me, what happens next will blow your mind. Picture this. In the court of Empress Elizabeth, Sophia, now christened Catherine after converting to the Russian Orthodox faith, was immediately at odds with her fiancé, Peter. Peter, an immature man-child obsessed with Prussian military games, wasn't just unambitious, he was borderline antagonistic toward Russia. To Catherine, his failure to embrace their adoptive empire was a betrayal. It became clear to her that if Russia were to thrive, Peter could not stand in her way. He could not remain Tsar for long. Catherine didn't just navigate the brutal Russian court, she weaponized it. Despite being an outsider, she gained favor among powerful factions by crafting alliances and presenting herself as a naturalized Russian patriot. While Peter infuriated the nobility and alienated the military, Catherine quietly won over their loyalty. She also soaked up knowledge like a sponge, consuming ideas from the Enlightenment, corresponding with great minds like the French philosopher Voltaire and Montesquieu, and, of course, carefully plotting her way toward power. If this sounds like a chessboard on steroids, that's because it was. Every move Catherine made had a specific endgame. By mid-1762, only 6 months into Peter's reign, the pieces were precisely in place. With the support of the Imperial Guard, Catherine staged a coup, forcing Peter to abdicate. Shortly after his enforced resignation, Peter mysteriously died under what remains deeply suspicious circumstances. But Catherine wasn't waiting for sentiment. By then, she had seized the throne as Empress Catherine II of Russia. She was 33 years old. What followed in her reign was nothing short of extraordinary. Catherine expanded Russian territories massively, stretching into Crimea and Alaska. But here's something you might not realize. She wasn't just an aggressive conqueror, she was also a cultural architect. Under her influence, Russia transformed into a bona fide European superpower, blending Renaissance ideals with Russian culture. Schools were built, primitive healthcare was expanded, newspapers flourished, and vast swathes of Russia were modernized. And yet, what's often overlooked is the shadow Catherine lived under. As an orphan, as a foreigner, and yes, let's just say it, a woman in the 18th century ruling a male-dominated empire, Catherine was never secure in her position. Throughout her reign, she stamped out dozens of insurrections and navigated court whispers, accusing her of everything from corruption to depravity. Her steel-like resolve wasn't for show. It was an existential necessity. One particularly fascinating chapter revolves around her downward gamble during the Russo-Turkish Wars. Against advisors who instructed caution, Catherine waged an ambitious campaign that left Russia victorious and, more thrillingly for Catherine, controlling the Black Sea. But it was never just about military conquest. Owning critical maritime routes transformed Russia's economy and global power positioning. Catherine understood geopolitics at a level most of her male counterparts simply did not. And yet, her legacy is mixed. Yes, Catherine certainly crushed serf uprisings and often sided with the aristocracy at the expense of Russia's working poor. But history rarely paints its heroes and villains without shades of grey. What cannot be denied is how this odd, intentional outsider accumulated unprecedented influence for her age, setting in motion growth and change that would affect Russian society for centuries. Still think Catherine the Great's story is just about court scandals and lover rumors? Think again. This orphaned girl, dismissed by her own family and underestimated by an empire, became a figure whose policies and decisions rippled across continents. Her reign was part gamble, part genius, and entirely disarming for anyone who believed a young woman from Stettin could never sit at history's main table. So the next time you see Russia marked on a world map, remember, it owes much of its shape to Catherine the Great, the orphaned girl who stepped onto foreign soil and decided it wasn't foreign after all. History might not sing her narrative at the same volume as others, but her echo resounds all the same. What do you think? Could you have survived and thrived in a court as brutal and cutthroat as 18th century Russia? Let us know in the comments below. And if you loved uncovering this historical hidden gem, don't forget to hit like and share with fellow history buffs.